to all of you. So let me know my voice is audible. Is my voice is audible? Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Srihavi. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss about Nastorow accelerated gradient optimizer, and later we will discuss about the ADA-grad optimizer. First we will discuss Nastorow accelerated gradient optimizer. So before going to Nastorow accelerated gradient optimizer, let me start with stochastic and momentum. In stochastic gradient optimizer, we are updating the parameter. In stochastic gradient optimizer, we are updating the parameter x based on its gradient. The decision variable or model parameter or variable is updated based on the gradient of function with respect to the variable at current point, at current variable value. That is in case of the stochastic gradient descent optimization. Whereas in case of momentum, the variable is updated as x equal to x plus gamma vt minus 1 velocity minus eta dou f by dou x, right? This is also we discussed yesterday, momentum. Right? So, in case of momentum, the model parameter or variable will be updated based on gradient at the current point, and also gradient at the previous iteration value. So it is depending upon both current gradient value and previous gradient value. On both cases, the model parameter will be updated in case of the momentum. Right? So now Nastorow accelerated gradient, which is the extension for the momentum. So what the authors who proposed the Nastorow accelerated gradient optimizer suggested that they have considered gradient in the previous iteration and also gradient in the next iteration. So they are updating the parameter based on the two parameters. They are gradient in the previous iteration and gradient in the next iteration. Gradient in the next iteration nothing but gradient of a function with respect to the model parameter at the value of the model parameter which is going to be in the next iteration. అంటే నెక్స్ట్ ఇటరేషన్లో వాల్యూ ఎంత ఉంటుందో ముందుగానే ఎస్టిమేట్ చేసి ఆ పాయింట్ దగ్గర గ్రేడియంట్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేస్తాం ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ది Nastorow accelerated gradient optimizer. So that is only the change in case of NAG. So in case of NAG, the model parameter will be updated x equal to x plus gamma into vt minus 1 minus dou f by dou x. I want to call it as a plus. Plus means, so this is the gradient in the previous iteration, t minus 1th iteration or previous iteration, and this is the gradient calculated at the estimated variable point in the next iteration. So next iteration లో మన వేరియబుల్ అనేది ఈ లొకేషన్లో ఉండొచ్చిన ఒక పాయింట్ని ఎస్టిమేట్ చేసుకొని ఆ పాయింట్ దగ్గర ఎంత గ్రేడియంట్ ఉంటుందో క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసి వీఆర్ అప్డేటింగ్ ద మోడల్ పారామీటర్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ ద లుక్ హెడ్. అంటే ఫ్యూచర్లో ఎంత ఉంటుందో స్లోప్ ఎంత ఉంటుందో ఎస్టిమేట్ చేసుకొని మన యొక్క పారామీటర్ అప్డేషన్ కంట్రోల్ చేయడం అనమాట. సో నిన్న మీకు ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్పినట్టు, వెన్ వీఆర్ రైడింగ్ ఏ బైసికల్ ఆన్ ఏ road, when we are riding a bicycle on a road like this, so the bicycle will be moving like this. Suppose if you see some speed breaker here, then by seeing look ahead అంటే ముందుగానే మనం దాన్ని చూసి and we are controlling our change of our speed or change of our position of the cycle. So like that the NAG also working. So the point updation or variable updation in Nastorow accelerated gradient is depending upon the gradient in the next estimated point and also gradient in the previous point. So that is the case in case of the Nastorow accelerated gradient optimization. Fine. Hope you understand. So now we will discuss about the algorithm for the Nastorow accelerated gradient. So before going to start the Nastorow accelerated gradient optimization algorithm, we will start with the momentum optimizer algorithm itself. Later we will do the some modifications. How that will be converted into NAG. So మన momentum optimizer algorithm మరొకసారి స్టడీ చేసి దాంట్లో we have to do some modifications. Now it will comes to the NAG side. అది ఆ మొమెంటంలో ఎక్కడ మనం చేంజెస్ చేస్తే that will become a NAG optimizer we will discuss. Right? Fine. Now first we will start with the momentum optimizer only. Later I will change it to NAG by changing some steps in the algorithm. So in the momentum, so let me, if you give a response, that will be more happy for me because we already discussed momentum and also we did some numerical calculations. So let's assume your data set is X and Y, XIA and YIA. So what will be the step 1? Someone, if possible. In step 1, what you have to do in the momentum? What we have to in momentum, step 1. So similar to the remaining all the optimizers, we have to initialize all the required parameters. Okay. So you have to read your data set XIA and YIA and you have to initialize your learning rate eta equal to 0.01 whatever it may be. So someone joined, I think. Yeah. And you have to initialize momentum coefficient 0.9 and you have to initialize your model parameters m equal to 1 and c equal to -1 and you have to initialize number of epochs like 100 or 10,000 whatever it may be and in case of the momentum we have to initialize velocity vector for each model parameter vm equal to vc equal to 0 and also you have to choose ns number of samples that is depending upon your data set. Fine. So now step 2. In step 2 what you have to do? In step 2 you have to set your iteration value equal to 1 and in step 3 set your sample equal to 1. Suppose if you want to update your model parameter using momentum optimizer by sample, so this step will be comes into picture. Suppose if you want to update your model parameters using momentum optimizer based on a small batches, then set batch equal to 1. You have to update with respect to the batch number. Suppose if you want to take all the samples in the training data set as a single batch, then this complete step will not be coming to picture. If you have any doubt, you can go back to your our batch gradient descent optimization. In the batch gradient descent optimization, this step is not exist in that case. This step will be sample equal to 1 if you want to take a sample by sample and update model parameters. And if you want to take a mini batch by mini batch, then you have to set batch equal to 1. Suppose if you want to take complete batch, if you want to take all the samples as a single batch, then this step will not be coming to picture. But I want to explain the momentum optimizer with respect to the updation with respect to the sample by sample. Step 3. Now step 4. So in step 4 what we did? In momentum we have to calculate the gradient of loss function or of mean square error function with respect to the model parameter gm, that's equal to minus yia minus mxia minus c into xia and gradient with respect to model parameter c, that's equal to minus yia minus m into xia minus c. You have to calculate the gradients. And in step 5 what you have to do? We have to calculate the velocity. Right? We have to calculate the velocity. So we calculate the velocity. So velocity Vm equal to gamma into Vm minus eta into Gm. That is the gradient. Okay. Similarly, you have to find the velocity Vc, gamma into Vc minus eta into Gc. This is from gradient approach. Now, step 6. In step 6, we need to update our model parameters. That is m equal to m plus vm. Similarly, you can update c equal to c plus vc. Okay, so or simply we can call it as a m equal to m plus vm coming from here, gamma into vm minus eta into gm. C equal to c plus vc. So c plus vc will be coming from here. So I want to write here gamma into vc minus eta into gc. Right. So this is the step 6 in case of the momentum. Now go to step 7. So what is the step 7? So you have to update your sample count. Sample equal to sample plus 1. And in step 8, you have to check your sample with respect to the dataset size. If your sample less than or equal to number of samples in the dataset, if it is true, then you have to go to step number 4, where we are calculating the gradient. Go to step 4 and calculate the gradients at the current sample. Else, that means this condition is not satisfied. That means you covered all the samples available in the dataset. Then go to next step. So now here next step 9. Next step is the step 9. Here what we have to do, we have to update your iteration. Iter equal to iter plus 1. And in the step 10, so you have to check your iterations. If current iteration less than or equal to total number of epochs what you initialized in the first step. If it is less than, that means all the maximum number of iterations we initialized, that's not reached. Then we have to go to step. Which step we have to go? Step 3. You have to go to step 3. So you have to go to step 3 and again start from the first sample in the dataset. Else, go to next step. So what is the next step? What we will do in the next step? That is called step 11. What we have to do here? We have to take the latest M and C values and you have to calculate the errors MSE, RMSE or ME on both training dataset and also testing dataset. So these matrices will help you to observe the performance of your model. So this is the complete algorithm which we discussed yesterday with numerical calculations for the momentum. Now there is a slight modification that have to be coming to the picture here if you want to develop a Nastran accelerated gradient algorithm. So I said to you that the model parameters in Nastran accelerated gradient optimization algorithm is depending upon the gradient in the previous iteration. So this is the gradient in the previous iteration because it is like a t-1 previous iteration and gradient in the next estimated point. But what happened here? This GM and GCR calculated based on the M and C. These GM and GCL calculated based on M and C, which are the current values, not estimated values in the next iteration. I hope you understand, right? So in all the 11 steps, I said that this M and C values are the current iteration values, right? So in all the 11 steps, where you can identify the model parameter, estimated model parameters in the next iteration. Next iteration lo unde model parameters anevi ekkada manaku available untayi cheppagalaru evaraina? Anyone can tell in all the steps? Step 6. Thank you, very good. So here we have the updated MNC value. These are the values will come to the current value for the next iteration. So these are the estimates. But see, for if you want to use this M and C, you require GM and GC, right? Okay, but GM and GC I want to calculate based on these values. So it is some contradictory, right? It is difficult, right? Because M and C values depending upon the GM and GC, and I want to calculate GM and GC based on the next iteration M and C values. It is difficult, right? So then what they did is they just have they are approximated. What approximated is they have considered m equal to m approximately equal to m plus gamma into Vm. They removed this one. So we are estimated the gradient at approximated point, not exactly variable points in the next iteration, right? So just we have to, now here in the updation only we are removing, not in this equation. So what the modification I want to do here is, I will write here, please see. That only change come into the picture in case of Nastorow accelerated gradient. In the previous case I am taking m, right? But here I have to take the next estimated m value. Next estimated m value equal to m plus gamma into Vm. I am not considering this case. I am approximated it because I don't have the value of Gm, right? Minus, here it is C plus gamma into Vc. That means it is approximated, right? Not exactly m value. This is not exactly m value. If you want exactly m value, you have to include this term also. So this is the approximate m, this is the approximated C values into xi. So instead of m and c, we are considered m plus gamma into Vm and c plus gamma into Vc. That means we are calculating the gradient of loss function with respect to the model parameter m at a approximated variable value in the next iteration. Approximated variable value in the next iteration, not in the current iteration, right? So that's what we are doing in case of the Nastorow accelerated gradient. No, it is not a momentum. Now it is a Nastorow accelerated gradient. So in case of GC, that is the m plus gamma into Vm minus c plus gamma into, yeah.
Sir, m plus gamma Vm into xi.
Right, perfect, right. Thank you. So I forget to include here, it is a xia and it is a xia. Right? So only this is the modification we have to incorporate in the momentum if you want to develop the NAG optimizer. So that's the only thing when compared to the momentum. So in the case of the momentum, we are calculated the gradient at the current point m and c values, but in case of the NAG, we are calculated the gradient at the approximately estimated next values for the model parameters. Now the GM values are coming to picture here now. Now we are updating these m values based on previous gradient values and next level gradient values. This one, right? So that's it. That only this is the change that will occur in case of the Nastorow accelerated gradient when compared to our momentum, right? So this is called the look ahead operation. Look ahead means we are seeing a head point, not current point, not at the previous point. We are estimated our next we are estimated the gradient based on the next estimated point. So next iteration of point not exactly, it's approximated. Okay. So fine, I hope you understand this complete. Remaining all steps are same. So I hope you understand this algorithm. Now we will discuss the numerical calculation. So after completing the numerical calculation, we are going to the ADA grad optimizer. So XIA, YIA dataset, 0.2, 3.4 and 0.4, 3.8 is the dataset, right? Now step 1, you have to read the dataset, XIA and YIA, and assume the learning rate 0.01 and assuming the momentum coefficient 0.9 and initialize the m and c values randomly. I'm taking m equal to 1, c equal to -1, and you have to initialize number of samples as equal to 2, and you have to initialize Vm equal to Vc equal to 0, right? So I think almost all are covered. Epochs, yes, I have to initialize the epochs also. So number of epochs equal to, let's assume we are doing the hand calculation, I'm taking the only one epoch. Only one epoch. Fine. Now step 2. In step 2 you have to set iteration equal to 1, and in step 3 set sample equal to 1. Sample equal to 1. Now in step 4 we have to calculate the gradient and the next estimated point. Now what is the gradient? Gm equal to minus YIA, because we are in the first sample, right? So first sample means this one. Okay, we are in the first sample. So first sample means this one. సో YIA దట్స్ ఈక్వల్ టు 3.4 మైనస్ ఇక్కడ ఏమొస్తుందమ్మా M ప్లస్ M అంటే 1 ప్లస్ గామా 0.9 ఇంటూ VM. So VM equal to 0 into XIA that's equal to 0.2 minus C. C is the minus 1 plus gamma 0.9 into VC that's equal to 0. Right? So multiplied with 0.2. Multiplied with 0.2. So its value will be, its value will be minus 3.4. This is the 0, so minus 0.2. And this is also 0, minus into minus plus 1 into 0.2. So it's equal to, it's equal to 3.4 plus 1, 4.4 minus 2, 4.2 into 0.2, that's equal to 4 into 0.2, that's a minus 0.84, minus 0.84. Very in the first iteration, and the first timestamp, your updation will be similar to the momentum because this term is 0, right? This term is 0, then it look like a M into X minus C. But whereas in the later iterations, this impact will be coming to the picture. Because in the first iteration we have VM into VC equal to 0, so this that gamma into VT term and gamma into VM, gamma into VC terms will become 0. Then you have the only M and C only similar to your momentum. But in the later part of iterations, that impact will be coming to the picture. So current iteration is minus 0.84. Similarly, GC that's equal to minus 3.4 minus 1 plus 0.9 into 0 into 0.2 minus 1 plus 0.9 into 0, that's it. Right? So this value will be equal to minus 4.2. Minus 4.2. Now go to step 5. So what you have to do in the step 5? We have to find the velocity. So Vm equal to gamma into Vm. Vm equal to gamma into Vm. So gamma is a 0.9 into Vm is a 0. Gamma is a 0.9 and Vm is a 0. Minus eta 0.01 into Gm. Gm is a minus 0.84. So that's value equal to minus into minus plus. So it is a 0.0084. 0.0084. Similarly, you have to calculate the VC, velocity for the constant or bias term. So that's equal to gamma into 0.9 into VC, that's a 0 minus eta 0.01 into GC, that's equal to minus 4.2. So that's equal to, it will be 0 and this will be 0.004, right? No, 0.42 I think. Yeah. So this is 0.42 minus into minus plus 0.4, no, 0.042. 0.042. So that is the Vm and VC values. Now go to step 6. In the step 6, what we have to do, we have to update our parameter. That is equal to M equal to M plus. M plus means it is a 1, right? So 1 plus Vm, that's equal to 0.0084. Now the new value is that. Similarly, update the C value. So C equal to C plus, that is the minus 1 plus VC, that's equal to 0.042, that's equal to minus 0.958. Minus 0.958. These are M and C values. Now go to step 7. In step 7, what we have to do? Update the sample count. So sample equal to sample plus 1. Now your sample count is 1 plus 1, that's equal to 2. That's equal to 2. Right? Now step 8. So we have to check the sample count. If sample is less than or equal to ns or not. Check here, it is a true or false. Your sample is 2, less than or equal to number of samples 2. So its condition is satisfied. It's a true. If it is a true case, then we have to go to step 4 again. We have to go to step 4. Okay? Now sample is done. Now go to step 4. Now we will work on the step 4 again. We are going to the step 4. Now I will write the step 4 equation here. So we have to find the GM again. So GM equal to minus, ఇక్కడ ఏ వాల్యూ వస్తుందమ్మా?
3.8 sir.
Yeah, it is a 3.8 minus M. What is the value of M?
1.0084.
1.0084 plus gamma, that is the 0.9, into Vm. So what is the value of Vm? This one. That is the 0.0084. Fine. So okay, y minus m plus gamma into, so otherwise I will write it in the another board. You may confused. So I will move to step 4 in the next board. Step 4. So before going to the step 4, I want to rewrite all the values. M equal to 1.0084 and C equal to minus 0.958, and from the previous timestamp. And Vm equal to, I think Vm value. Vm value
0.0084 sir.
This is the Vm, right? Yes. Yeah. So 0.0084 and 0.042. 0084 and 0.042. Hey, what happened? Okay. So M equal to 1.0084 and C equal to minus 0.958 and Vm equal to minus 0.0084 and Vc equal to minus 0.9 Vc equal to
0.0042 sir.
yeah 0.042 I think 0.042
0.004.
కాదనుకుంటానన్నా
Sorry sir, 0.40.
0.42 కదా, yeah 0.042. Now start with the step 4 now. So in step 4 what you have to do, so you have to calculate GM, that's equal to minus YIA, that is the 3.8, minus M is the 0.0084 plus gamma, that is the 0.9. Okay, 1.0084, 0.9, and here Vm, that's equal to minus 0.0084 into XIA, that is the 0.4, and here minus C, that is a minus 0.958 plus gamma 0.9 into Vc, that is the minus 0.042. It's a minus sum plus sir? Vm Vc values. Sorry.
Plus sir, positive values.
Vm and Vc values. So these are the plus, right? Vm and
Positive,
Vc
sir.
values are positive. So Vm and Vc values are positive. So it's the plus value. So I will remove this. 0.0084 and here also right 0.042 into XIA, that's equal to 0.4. Similarly you have to calculate GC, that's equal to minus 3.8 minus M, that's 1.0084 plus gamma 0.9 into Vm 0084 into 0.4 minus C minus 0.958 plus 0.9 into 0.42. That's it. Right? So calculate the GM and GC values. So after calculating GM and GC values, the rest of things are same. So next step 5. So you have to calculate the VM. So VM equal to gamma. So gamma entama? VM equal to gamma. Gamma value is 0.9 into previous VM value. 0.0084 gamma into V4 minus eta, that is the 0.01 into gradient. That gradient value GM will be coming from here. And similarly calculate the VC, that's equal to 0.9 into previous VC value, that is the 0.042 minus 0.01 into GC value. Now this GC value coming from here. What next? In step 6, what we have to do? We have to update your model parameters. So M equal to M plus VM, that's equal to M value into 1.0084 plus VM. This VM value will be coming from here. And C equal to C plus VC, that's equal to C value, what is the C value? Minus 0.958 plus VC, and this VC value will be coming from here. Right? So now we are updating the model parameter with respect to the second sample also. Now go to step 7. Now it is a sample equal to sample plus 1, that's equal to 1 plus, because we are in the current sample is 2, right? That's the 2 plus 1, that's equal to 3. Now in the step 8 we have to check if your sample count is less than or equal to number of samples or not. So check what happened. Your sample count is 3, less than or equal to number of samples are 2. So it is a false statement. If it is a false, we have to go to next step, that is called step 9. In step 9, what we have to do, we have to update your iteration. Iter equal to iter plus 1, that's equal to 1 plus 1, that's equal to 2. Now go to step 10. In step 10, you have to check for the iterations. If your iter count is less than or equal to number of epochs what you defined, number of epochs you defined is 1 in the initially. Now current iteration count is 2, updated. So now it is a false case. It is a false case. So at the false case, we have to go to the next step. So step 11 is read M and C values, latest M and C values, and calculate the MSC and all things on both training data set and testing data set. So this is the procedure. Suppose if you set the 2 epochs, so if you set 2 epochs, this condition is true, not false. Then you have to go to step 3. That means where you have to go? You have to go to this step 3. Here. You have to go to step 3 where you read the sample now. So maybe it is some zoom problem. So in the step 3 means again you have to start from the first iteration. Sorry, first sample. Again you have to start from the first sample. So this is the about natural accelerated gradient optimizer, which is used to train the model parameters of any machine learning model. I am taking a simple linear regression model having only 2 parameters M and C. The main purpose of this taking this small example is so it helps us to understand how algorithm works to update the model parameters. So once you are comfortable with how the model parameters are updated, then you can apply the same approach for the remaining ML models also. Only thing is the number of model parameters will changes. Complex model parameters will changes. Right? So suppose if you go for the multilinear regression model, it's somewhat complex when compared to the simple linear regression model. And if you go with the polynomial regression model with a high order, then it will be somewhat complex. And if you go for the ANN, it contains the more number of weights, huge number of weights. So if your complexity of your model is increases, then definitely your computation will be increases. Number of parameters increases. So there is a more updates required. There are more updations are required. So if you understand these algorithms, you can easily apply for your some other models also. other models also. Fine. So till now we discussed about stochastic gradient, batch gradient, mini batch gradient, momentum, and Nastran accelerated gradient. Now one common limitation among all these 5 gradient descent optimizations are, ఎవరైనా కొంచెం ఏమైనా థాట్ ఉందామో ఏమి లిమిటేషన్, కామన్ లిమిటేషన్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ఆప్టిమైజర్స్ ఉండొచ్చు? వాట్ మే బి ద కామన్ లిమిటేషన్ ఫర్ ఆల్? ఓకే ఫైన్, ఫర్గెట్ అబౌట్ దిస్. సో కామన్ లిమిటేషన్ ఏంటి అనేది మనం డిస్కస్ చేసే ముందు, సో వీ విల్ గివ్ సమ్ స్మాల్ example. I want to give some small example. That is, let's assume it's not mathematics, just a small general example. There is an hospital, and in the hospital there is a two health workers, A and B. Two health workers, A and B. Now, the superintendent of that hospital assigned a task to both A and B and said that Mr. A, go to a street 1. Okay, go to a street 1. So that street containing the houses will be like this. The street containing the houses will be like this. The street containing houses like this. So these are the houses of this street. Just general example I am giving. So from this analysis you may come to know what may be the limitation. There is a street 1 and another street is like this. This is another street. In the second street the houses will be like this. Houses will be like this. And finally they have to report that doctor at the same time. He said that Mr. A, go to street 1 and Mr. B, go to street 2. And so in each street, go to each house, take the samples of, collect the samples from the each house. Collect the sample from the each house. Let's assume there is one person in each house. Let's assume there is only one person in each house. And the superintendent assigned a task to both supporters, say A and B, that health workers A and B, that Mr. A, go to street 1, Mr. B, go to street 2, take the sample from each house and report me within 1 hour. Report me within 1 hour. Right? Now, so that means what he is expecting, report me like that, he said report me. So then what the health worker A will do? He will collect the sample from here and later he will jump to here, later he 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 jump to here, here and collect and finally report it to him. Right? Assume that superintendent didn't give any vehicle to them. They go by walk only. That means they have to start from here. They are starting from here. By walk, they move along the street and collect the samples. Finally, he had to report it. And assume both are in the same personalities. Their feet, how much step they will take while walking, assume the same step. Then B also will start from here. Because both are in the same personalities, they take the same feet. The distance between the feet in the one walk is same. That means they will be moved from here, and finally report it. Why they are taking the same step length? Because there is no separate vehicle for both of them. They have to collect the samples by walk along the street. Do you think this is justifiable? Do you think this is justifiable? Because in the street 1, all the houses are very nearby. So if he go by walk, that is very good. So just he came to one house and go to nearby house, next house, because they are very all are combined side by side, right? But whereas in this case what happened? Because both personalities have the same step length, same feet, the distance between the feet is same personalities. So they also said he also takes the same step length, but unfortunately he collects the sample from here and later from here, later from here and later from here. It is unnecessarily thing here, right? Suppose instead of giving a small cycle or something else to him, then he will be moved from here to here fastly. Suppose if you give cycle to him, there is an unnecessary thing, right? Because ఒక ఇంటి నుండి పక్కింటికి వెళ్ళడానికి సైకిల్ ఎక్కడం వేస్ట్ కదమ్మా. అదే ఎక్కడైతే there is some more distance between the houses, then he take some cycle and he will collect the sample from here and then from to here, from to here, from to here. That is the logically right? So that is the better choice, better searching. We will get the better searching combination. We will get the better searching combination. Understand this small real-time example. Now tell me, what may be the limitation for the last 5 optimizers based on this story? ఏమై ఉండొచ్చు లిమిటేషన్ అనేది? What may be the limitation? డిస్క్రిప్ట్ అయిపోయిందా?
సింపుల్ లీనియర్ రిగ్రెషన్ కి
there is a common limitation for all, okay, not with respect to the model, because we are discussing about the optimizers. So we have discussed 5 optimization techniques: stochastic and batch, mini batch, momentum and nag. Among all 5 optimizers, there is a common limitation. So what may be based on this small case study? Similar thing will be happen in the 4-5 cases also. అదేం కావచ్చు, జస్ట్ పర్లేదు కొంచెం ఆలోచించి చెప్పండి, రాంగ్ అని పర్లేదు, నేను చెప్తాను.
Sir, Srihari message step length.
Perfect. I will see. Yes, very good. It is a step length, fine. So, why it is a step length? Why it is a step length? ఎందుకు సేమ్ స్టెప్ లెంత్ అనుకుంటున్నారు? పోనీ అప్రాక్సిమేట్లీ సేమ్ స్టెప్ లెంత్ అనుకుంటున్నారు? బికాస్ వీఆర్ ప్రొవైడింగ్ ద సేమ్ లెర్నింగ్ రేట్ ఫర్ ఆల్ ద మోడల్ పారామీటర్స్, రైట్? In our simple linear regression model, we have the 2 model parameters, M and C. For both M and C, for both model parameters, for searching the optimal point of M and optimal point of C, for both model parameters, we are assigning the same learning rate eta equal to 0.01 or 0.1, whatever it may be. We are assigning the same learning rate for all the model parameters. Suppose మీరు మల్టీ లీనియర్ రిగ్రెషన్ మోడల్కి వెళ్ళారనుకోండి, సపోజ్ 3 ఇన్పుట్ ఫీచర్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి. So in case of NAG, momentum or remaining SGD, BGD or MBGD, there is same eta value for M1, M2, M3 and C, irrespective of behavior of that model, irrespective of impact of that model on the objective function, irrespective of sensitivity of objective function with respect to the model parameter, irrespective of sensitivity of the function with respect to the model parameter, irrespective of impact of the model parameter on the objective function, irrespective of how parameters are distributed, we are assigning the same learning rate which helps to find the step length. Learning rate which helps to find the step length, right? Eta into gradient. So we are assigning the same learning rate for all the model parameters in the last 5 cases. మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేశారు లేదు, eta value 0.01 యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం ప్రతిసారి. It will not change with respect to the model parameter. It will not change with respect to the characteristics of the model parameter. It will not change with respect to the impact of the model parameters on the objective function or error function. It will not change with respect to the sensitivity of error function with respect to the model parameter. అంటే ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఫంక్షన్ క్యాలిక్యులేషన్లో M యొక్క ఇంపాక్ట్ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నా కానీ, C ఇంపాక్ట్ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నా కానీ, ఇట్ విల్ గివ్ ద సేమ్ స్టెప్ అండ్ సేమ్ లెర్నింగ్ రేట్, రైట్? సో దట్ వాజ్ ద limitation for the last 4-5 optimization techniques. So now from next we will go to discuss about the adaptive learning rate optimizers. We are going to discuss about adaptive learning rate optimizers. Now it's 3:51, we have a time. So adaptive learning rate optimizers. So now I will rough it. Adaptive learning rate means, so the learning rate will be adjusted based on the sensitivity of error function with respect to the model parameters, or based on the impact of the model parameters on the objective function or error function. We are updating our learning rate. We are updating our learning rate. So in case of the adaptive methods, adaptive learning rate methods. So there are many like AdaGrad and RMS prop and ADA delta and ADAM, and there's some ADA max, NAT, ADA max, but we are not going to discuss about ADA max and NAT. Okay, so these are the adaptive learning rate optimization techniques which are used for machine learning to update the parameters of the machine learning model. However, in this course we are going to discuss about AdaGrad, and we are going to discuss about the RMS prop, and we are going to discuss about the ADAM. Actually, both RMS prop and ADA delta are developed simultaneously but unknowingly. That means two people from the different areas, they are developed the RMS prop and ADA delta algorithm separately to overcome the limitations of the AdaGrad, but they don't know each other, and finally they publish it separately. Almost both models are performing equally, so both are almost similar. That's why I'm concentrating on the RMS prop. Fine. Well, now adaptive learning, what we are doing here, we will discuss now. And there is one discussion is there. మనం ఒక మాట అనుకున్నాం ఏంటంటే, ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ది స్టొకాస్టిక్ గ్రేడియంట్, ఆర్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ది బ్యాచ్ గ్రేడియంట్, ఆర్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ మినీ బ్యాచ్ గ్రేడియంట్, if you choose large eta value, it will have a oscillations problem. If you choose small eta value, it will have a convergence time problem. So some of the researchers, they are doing that. Initially they are choosing the eta value large. Once the point reaches to the optimum point, then the eta value decreases continuously. That means during the starting phase of your iterative algorithm, you are choosing the large eta value. As the iterations progresses, your point will be moving towards the optimal point. Once it reaches toward the optimal point, as iterations progresses, you are trying to gradually decrease your learning rate so that your step length will be decreases, so that the overshoot problem will be eliminated. That is also called as the adaptive learning rate. But that adaptive learning is not with respect to the sensitivity of the model parameters. It is not sensitivity of the model parameters. That is a different perspective. But here in the all adaptive learning rate methods, what I listed now, the learning rate will be updated based on the impact of the model parameter on the objective function, or based on the sensitivity of the model parameter on the objective function. So what it will be, we will discuss. So how we can take care of these things, right? So I'm trying to give some slow because it may confuse, because I can't draw the three-dimensional diagram. So this is your objective function f of x comma y, and this is the x, and somewhere y will be like this. Okay, so your f of x function f of x y will be object function f of x y will be varying with respect to y like this. That is in another plane, and whereas with respect to x it is varying like this, right? So ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నా ఒకసారి చూడండి, మీకు అర్థమవుతుంది. ఇట్స్ a 0, let us assume, and this is 1, and this is 2, and let us assume this is 3, and it will be varying like this. Fine. Then, so suppose if the function is varying with respect to x like this, Then what mean by the sensitivity of x with on the function? Sensitivity of x on the function, it's low or high? ఎవరైనా చెప్పగలరా? Sensitivity తక్కువ ఉంటుందా ఎక్కువ ఉంటుందా ఇక్కడ? Here or we can call it as a, so from 0 to 3 y side note చేస్తా 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Now by observing this, at least tell me sensitivity nothing but change in function with respect to the variable x, change in function with respect to y variable. So in which case sensitivity will be more? Is it delta f by delta x or delta f by delta y? This is with respect to y and this is with respect to x.
Delta f by delta y.
Delta f by delta y. So here I am suggesting whether it will be more or this one, upper side and lower, this one greater or lesser?
With respect to y, greater.
Which one greater?
Y, sir, with respect to y.
Perfect. Right? So that means your objective function will be more sensitive to y, because if observe చేసారు లేదు, one step ఇక్కడ చేంజ్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు yలో one step మనకు చేంజ్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు the change in f of xy will be also 1, but అదే x లో చేంజ్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు the value will be very small, change in value will be very small. అబ్జర్వ్ చేశారా? So this is the change in with respect to y and this is the change with respect to x. The change in function is more with respect to y, but change in function is less when compared to with respect to x. That means your x will be more, y will be more sensitive to your objective function when compared to your x. Can you keep mute? Thank you for your response. Please keep mute. Fine. Now, perfect, right? So that means this is less sensitive, right? Now tell me, that means how it means the value will be changes very slightly change with respect to x, but there is a large change with respect to y. Large change with respect to y. Why? So then what we have to do while updating the parameters, even though there is a small change, there is a large change with respect to the object function, then we have to move one by to check all the variations, to observe all the variations with respect to y, right? It's similar to the street one. Suppose in the street one, the number of samples collected divided by number of steps he have taken. Number of steps will be taken. So that will be, this street 1 anukondi. Street 2 elagundi? From here and from here. So same step. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, sorry, this is first cheddam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same steps tanu kuda vestadu, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But number of samples collected here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 by 6 steps. But here again only 2 samples he collected, whereas number of steps he taken is 6. That means he has the high sensitivity when compared to this one for the same step length. Kada? So appudu em cheyali manamu? If the sensitivity is large, then you have to take the very small step length. అర్థమవుతుందమ్మా? సెన్సిటివిటీ ఎక్కువ ఉందనుకోండి, if the sensitivity large, then you have to take the very small step length. If the sensitivity is less, then you have to no need to take the more such type of small steps. You can take one big step. You can take a big step, right? Then you have to move from this portion to this portion. అర్థమవుతుందమ్మా? అంటే what we have to conclude from here is, if your sensitivity is high, then you have to choose your step length less. Sensitivity, step length sensitivity, step length and learning rate. Sensitivity, step length and learning rate. Suppose sensitivity is high. The sensitivity is high like this. The sensitivity is high. Then what you are expecting your step length, that will be that will be low or high, better for better searching capability. If your sensitivity is high, if the sensitivity of your object function is high with respect to your model parameter, then you have to choose the step length of large step length or small step length.
Small step length, sir.
Perfect. So you have to choose the small step length. So if you want the small step length, your learning rate will be small or large?
Small, sir.
It is a small. Small, good. Suppose your sensitivity is low. If the sensitivity is low, what about the step length?
More length, more length.
We have to take the bigger step. You have to take the bigger step. Then you have to choose the large learning rate. You have to choose the large learning rate. I think you agree with these things, right? Fine. Next. And how we calculate the, okay, ఇప్పుడు వరకు మనము we are discussed about all the gradient based optimizers, right? In all, and we calculated the different type of parameters while doing the numerical calculations also. Among all the parameters what we discussed with the numerical calculation, which parameter will reflect the sensitivity of your objective function or error function with respect to the model parameter? చెప్పగలరా? Parameter which will help you to know whether the model parameter has a high sensitivity towards the objective function or low sensitivity towards the objective function. ఏ parameter బేస్ చేసుకుని మనం ఎస్టిమేట్ చేయగలమో చెప్పగలరా? Based on which parameter? మనము 5 ఆల్గరిథమ్స్ డిస్కస్ చేసాం కదా. ఈ 5 ఆల్గరిథమ్తో వేరియస్ పారామీటర్స్ మనం క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసాం. లైక్ స్టెప్ లెంత్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసాం, వెలాసిటీస్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసాం, గ్రేడియంట్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసాం. సో ఇవన్నీ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేసాం కదా. ఈ పారామీటర్లో ఏ పారామీటర్ అనేది మనకు సెన్సిటివిటీని క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయడానికి అబ్జర్వ్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ అవుతుంది మనకు? విచ్ పారామీటర్? ఏనా Eta? What is it?
Eta.
It is a learning rate, is the eta here. Okay? It is a step length. You can call it as a delta M or delta C. And this is the sensitivity. It's coming from...
Sir, gradient.
Yes, perfect.
Gradient, sir.
Gradient, right. So you have to use gradient, GM or GC, to identify the sensitivity. Because, so gradient and dou E by dou M. Or dou F by dou M and dou E by dou C or dou F by dou C. So it's nothing but the sensitivity, right? So that gradient will be helpful for you to identify your sensitivity. Sensitivity of that corresponding model parameter on the objective function or on the error function. Perfect. So I think you agree, right? The parameter gradient will help us to identify how much impact, how much sensitivity a particular model parameter have towards its objective function or in the error function. Towards the objective function or in the error function. I think you agree, right? So based on this gradient, if the gradient is high means high sensitivity, if the gradient is low means it is a low sensitivity. If the gradient is high, that means high sensitivity, then you have to choose the small step length by putting the small learning rate, by keeping the small learning rate. If the gradient is low, that means your sensitivity is low, then you have to choose the bigger step length. If you want a bigger step length, you have to choose a large eta value. You have to choose large eta value. So now from this discussion, I want to come to one conclude. That is, now it is a parameter, gradient parameter or gradient parameter G, and this is the eta. Now I want to relate these two, I want to vanish all those things in between. ఈ మధ్యలో అన్నీ మర్చిపోయి దీని గుండి ఈ రెండింటి మీద మనం రిలేషన్ డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. సో వాట్ ఇట్ మీన్, if your gradient is large, you expect a learning rate? Small. You expect a learning rate small. If the gradient is small, you expect a learning rate large. Right? Ante, So you have to calculate the gradient. Generally, is it because all are the gradient based algorithms. So we have to calculate the gradient. So calculate the gradient, and if the gradient is large, you must update your learning rate low. If the gradient is small, and you have to keep your learning rate high. That means that is inversely proportional, right? That is inversely proportional, right? So to achieve this relation, what we can do? What we can do, that is, I want to update the learning rate like this, eta divided by square root of gradient square plus epsilon. What mean by the epsilon keeping here is, in case your objective function is zero sensitive towards a particular model parameter, then your gradient will become 0. If you didn't use this epsilon term, then the root 0, 1 by root 0, that will become infinity, it throw an error. That's why just I am adding a small number that is called epsilon, this value equal to 10 power minus 8. Second thing, then why sir you are using the square term? Because it may be a negative term or positive term. Gradient may be a negative or positive. Slope may be a negative or positive. If it is a negative, because of the small value, then the root minus term it will not throw a real number. Because the 0 minus something, root of some minus, that will not give a real number. So that's why I am taking the square. Now what happens, see here, if you are updating the learning rate like this, then what happens, see, suppose if your gradient is large, then what about your learning rate? This is completely the learning rate now. Right? So if your gradient is large, then what about the learning rate now? So you have to choose a
Small.
constant learning rate 0.1 or whatever it may be. Then what is the resultant learning rate with the large gradient?
Small.
It is a small. So we
Small,
can achieve this
still,
one, right?
still small.
Yes. We achieved, right, this one?
Less than 0.01.
Perfect. It's a small, it will decrease. Suppose if your gradient is small, so the denominator term will be decreases, then your error function will be increases. Understand it? Suppose if your gradient is increases, that means sensitivity of your objective function is increases with respect to the model parameter. If this gradient is increases, then your net learning rate will be decreases because of the denominator term. If the gradient is decreases, then your learning rate will be increases because of this in the denominator. So like that we are updating the learning rate instead of taking a constant learning rate through the iterative algorithm. So మనం అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తారో లేదో, మనం ఫస్ట్ తీసుకున్న 5 algorithms లో కూడా we are taking the same learning rate 0.01 or 0.1 throughout the iterations, but not in the case of in adaptive learning algorithms. Here what we are taking is, we are learning rate as a constant learning rate, but we are updating it throughout the iterative algorithm based on the gradient or sensitivity of objective function with respect to the model parameter. So this is the new parameter or new mathematical modeling that comes into the picture for all adaptive learning methods. Right? So how we calculate this gradient term, that is different authors have suggested the different perspective, different methodologies they have provided. How we calculate this denominator term? Can you include a direct square term, or you have to consider the past history of sensitivity of the model parameter of the objective function also? So most of the others, they have included the past history of the model parameter sensitivity on the objective function while updating your learning rate. I think you understood what mean by the adaptive learning rate and what it's required, what it's need. Now we are going to discuss about first adaptive learning rate optimization method, that is called ADA-GRAD. The first adaptive learning rate optimizer proposed by some others first time. So later there is some more adaptive learning rate methods. We know as a researchers, we have to identify the gaps in each algorithm and we have to do some modifications. Right? So you can also think in different perspective and you can also develop your own algorithm, gradient based algorithm. So that's also very fine if you are able to do those things. Anyhow, okay, fine. I hope you understand what mean by the adaptive learning and what will be necessary, what is it is necessary, ఎందుకు అది తీసుకోవాలి, దానివల్ల యూజ్ ఏంటి, సో ఏ విధంగా తీసుకోవాలి, అసలు ఎందుకు ఈ గ్రేడియంట్కి దీనికి ఇన్వర్స్ రిలేషన్ ఉంటుంది, వై ఇట్ ఇస్ ద ఇన్వర్స్ రిలేషన్ బిట్వీన్ ద గ్రేడియంట్ అండ్ లెర్నింగ్ రేట్. All those things we are discussed with some mathematical modeling and also with some small real-time example. So it's machine already మీకు చెప్పినట్టే machine will learn based on some natural intelligence, natural phenomena. So for that I am taking some natural examples to explain our machine learning optimizers. Hope you understand all these cases. Now we were going to discuss about ADA-grade optimizer. We are going to discuss about ADA-grade optimizer. ADA-grade optimizer. ADA-grade optimizer. Fine. In all the cases, your learning rate eta hat will be updated like eta divided by square root of some gradient term plus epsilon. And how we calculate this gradient term, that is different from different algorithms. That means you are dividing some gradient term for the learning rate with learning rate. And how we calculate that gradient term? Do you want to use the gradient in the current iteration or do you want to include the gradient in the past history also? That is depending upon the different approaches proposed by the different others. But all the others, they have suggested that try to include past history of impact of the objective function on the model parameter also. అంటే మనం ఏ ఇటరేషన్లో ఉన్నామో ఆ ఇటరేషన్ యొక్క గ్రేడియంట్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయడం కాకుండా యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఇంక్లూడ్ ద గ్రేడియంట్స్ ఇన్ ద ఫాస్ట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఆల్సో. రైట్? పర్ఫెక్ట్. Now what ADA-grade suggested that the algorithm to algorithm, the main change is here. The main change is here for adaptive learning rate algorithms. How this gradient term will be calculated in the ADA-grade is, they are calculated this gradient term as a sum of squares of gradients, as sum of squares of gradient. That means in iteration 1, the g value equal to gm square. That means gradient of a model, gradient of an object function is equal to the model parameter m whole square for the first iteration. So and the gradient also in the with respect to the first iteration. At time t equal to 2, that means in iteration 2, and g will be calculated as gm1 whole square plus gm2 whole square. That means they are added the gradient, square of the gradient in the second iteration and also square of the gradient in the first iteration. They have considered the past history also. And in time 3, in iteration 3, the g value will be equal to gm hat whole square plus gm2 whole square plus gm3 whole square. That means here we are calculating the sum of the squares of the gradient up to the current iteration. Up to the current iteration. As all the square gradients comes into the denominator term, so gradient comes into the denominator term, so it is a reciprocal relation, right? So this is the learning rate and this is the gradient in reciprocal relation. If the gradient values are large, so your eta value will be decreases. If gradient values is small, your eta value will be increases. So that will adjustment will be done in the eta hat, learning rate, right? So how you calculate this gradient term in the denominator, that is changes from the algorithm to algorithm. So we are discussing one by one. So every time the next researchers observed some limitation in the ADA-grade and they proposed something, and later some researchers identify some limitations and do some algorithms. So that as the researchers we all know about those things. Fine. Anyhow, now we are focusing on ADA-grade optimizer. In ADA-grade optimizer, right? Fine. Now I will explain the step-by-step procedure of ADA-grade optimizer, and after that we will stop for first class of today, and after 6, so we have the fourth iterate, we have 10. Fine, enough. So again we will meet at 7. We will discuss about the RMS prop and RDM optimizer. So we will close all the concepts by today, and whereas tomorrow we will discuss some lab sessions where we don't record this Wacom board or whiteboard or anything, so we can display. Fine. So AdaGrad step 1. So similar to all, you have to read your data set. You have to set some learning rate, 0.1 or 0.5, whatever it may be, but this will be adaptively adjusted. During the iterative process, it is adjusted. And you have to choose initialize the values m equal to 1 and c equal to -1. It is randomly chosen. And you have to initialize number of epochs equal to 1 and number of samples, and so you have to add something that's called gm superscript 2 that's equal to gc superscript 2 that's equal to 0. So these two parameters are called as sum of squares of gradients with respect to the each model parameter. In AdaGrad, others have used sum of squares of gradients in order to update the learning rate. So initially you have to assume with 0, gm square equal to gc square equal to 0. That is called the variable represent the sum of the squares of the gradients. That new things come into picture in case of the AdaGrad. Perfect. Next, step 2. In step 2, what we have to do? Set iteration equal to 1, and in step 3, set sample equal to 1. Sample equal to 1. In step 4, what we have to do? What we have to do in step 4? What we have to do in step 4?
Gradient calculation, sir.
Perfect. So we have to calculate the gradient. So gm equal to minus yia minus m into xia minus c into xia. I will give some suggestions to you later also. You can hybridize two methods. I will tell later. And gc equal to minus yia minus m into xia minus c. I don't want to explain completely. I will give some instructions what you can do for better performance further. So step 4. So in step 5, we have to calculate the sum of the squares of the gradient. That is, so gm2 equal to capital GM2 plus gm whole square. So it ఏమవుతుంది, capital GM2 అనేది 0 కదా, so 0 plus ఈ gradient square అనమాట. So we are adding square term. Second iteration ఏమొస్తుంది, ఈ value plus second iteration యొక్క square of the gradient both will be added. And similarly gc2 that's equal to gc2 plus capital small gc. So it's called gradient of a loss function with respect to the model parameter c whole square. But it is a model, it is a parameter, it is a variable. It is variable called sum of the variable represents the sum of the squares of the gradient with respect to the model parameter c. It's not square, right? Step 5. Step 6, what you have to do? We have to update our model parameter. We can update our model parameter. That is how we update our model parameter. Or you can m equal to m minus ఎవరైనా చెప్పగలరు ఇక్కడ ఏమొస్తుందో మనకు. ఐ విల్ రైట్ హియర్ వన్ థింగ్. యాక్చువల్లీ మనము జనరల్గా వాట్ ఆర్ ద ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ హియర్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ సింపుల్ గ్రేడియంట్ డీసెంట్ ఆప్టిమైజేషన్ మెథడ్స్. సో వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ హియర్ ఈటా
into
gm, అంతే కదమ్మా. సో దట్ ఈటా వాల్యూ విల్ బి అండ్ c ఈక్వల్ టు c minus eta into gc. So same eta value will be passes to all the model parameters in case of whatever model you have considered, either you take momentum or nag or SGD, BGD, MBGD, whatever it may be. You are passing the same learning rate for all the model parameters irrespective of its sensitivity. But AdaGrad, it is adaptive nature. Then what modification I can incorporate here? ఎవరైనా చెప్పగలరా?
nm gm nm nc, sir.
Eta has to be updated there. Eta by square root of j plus 6.
Perfect, right. So eta divided by square root of gm2, that is the sum of the squares of the gradient, plus epsilon. And here also same, eta divided by square root of sum of squares of gradient with respect to the model parameter c plus epsilon. That's it. So what it will take? So it will be, eta value will be, learning rate will be adjusted based on the sensitivity. Based on the sensitivity, I will write neatly. So yeah, so m minus eta divided by square root of gm2, capital gm2, nothing but sum of squares of gradient, plus small number epsilon. So epsilon you have to initialize as a small number, that is 10 power minus 8 into gm. Similarly here c minus eta divided by square root of capital GC2, sum of the squares of the gradient with respect to the model parameter c plus epsilon into GC. Now in this case the eta value, maybe you choose in 0.1, but this complete term will be updated based on the sensitivity of the model parameters, sensitivity of the objective function with respect to the model parameter m with respect to the model parameter c, right? So like that we are updating. And in step 7 rest is same. So step 7, that is sample equal to sample plus 1, and step 8 you have to check for the sample, if sample is less than or equal to number of samples or not. If yes, go to step, if it is a true, then we have to go to
Step 4.
step 4, else go to next step, and go to step, next step means step 9. Here you have to update your iteration, iter equal to iter plus 1, and whereas in the step 10 all are same, right? So if your iter value is less than or equal to number of epochs what you defined initially, then go to, if it is true, that means you are not reached the maximum number of iterations what you defined initially. If it is true, then go to which step?
Step 3, sir.
Yeah, step 3, you have to start from the first sample again. If it is false, then you have to go to next step, else go to next step, right? So now step 11, last step, that is called, you have to read the updated m and c values and calculate the errors on both training data and testing data. That's it, right? Only thing is here and here. So adaptively change your learning rate based on the sensitivity of your objective function or error function or cost function with respect to your model parameters. That change have so జనరల్గా నేను కొన్ని ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ చెప్తున్నాను బికాజ్ మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద పీపుల్స్ ఆర్ రీసెర్చ్ స్కాలర్స్ అండ్ సమ్ అదర్ పీపుల్స్ ఆల్సో ఇట్ మే బీ మోస్ట్ హెల్ప్ఫుల్. మనం ఏ కాంట్రిబ్యూషన్ చేసినా you don't expect it must be a large contribution. You can identify a small limitation in your in any other algorithm, try to do a small modification that may have a major impact on the performance of your algorithms. So మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేశారు, ఇప్పటికి మనము స్టొకాస్టిక్, మినీ బ్యాచ్, మొమెంటమ్, నాగ్ అవన్నీ డిస్కస్ చేసాం. నౌ వీఆర్ డిస్కసింగ్ ఆర్డర్గ్రేడ్ ఆల్సో. దేర్ ద మైనర్ చేంజెస్, రైట్? మైనర్ చేంజెస్, బట్ ద కమింగ్ ద థాట్ ఈజ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. మన మైండ్లోకి ఆ థాట్ రావడం అనేది చాలా, అదే మెయిన్ అనమాట యాక్చువల్గా. సో దెర్ ఆర్ స్లైట్ చేంజెస్ ఫ్రమ్ ఆల్గరిథమ్ టు ఆల్గరిథమ్, బట్ ఆ చేంజ్ చేయడం అనేది డిఫికల్ట్ టాస్క్ యాక్చువల్లీ. ఫైన్. సో ఐ హోప్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్ స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ ప్రొసీజర్ of how AdaGrad Optimizer will help to train the machine learning model by updating the machine learning model parameters by identifying their sensitivities, right? So now we are going to discuss about the numerical calculation for AdaGrad Optimizer.
So just a minute, sir.
Madam, please.
So can you show your screen once?
Just a minute, madam. Ma'am.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain again, madam? If you want, I will explain.
Yes, sir. It got disconnected. Again, I
It's fine, no,
joined.
no
Last
problem,
part.
madam. No problem. So ADA-GRAD is a adaptive learning rate gradient descent optimizer. One of the adaptive learning rate, one of the and first adaptive learning rate gradient descent optimizer. So how the learning rate will be adapted, that is based on the sensitivity of the model parameter on the error function or cost function or loss function. So you have to update your learning rate you have to update your learning rate to a small value if the sensitivity is high, if the gradient is high. And you have to update your learning rate to the large value if the sensitivity or gradient is small. That have to take care of these things. Now what is the algorithm is, you have to read the data set, you have to set
Yes,
the
sir.
learning rate, initial value.
Sir, you can proceed. Sorry, I got it.
Okay, fine
You can
then.
continue. Sir, got it.
Now we will do the numerical calculation. So again, we will start with the same example XIA, YIA, 0.2 and 3.4 and 0.4 and 3.8. Right? So just for demonstration only I am taking sample by sample. You can take as a batch also, or you can take as a mini batch also, samples. So step 1. So you have to read the data set XIA and YIA, and I set eta equal to 0.1 and set no at m equal to 1 and c equal to -1. Number of epochs is the numerical calculation, so I am taking the only one. And you have to choose GM2 equal to GC2 equal to 0. And we know number of samples equal to 2. Step 2. So what you have to do here? So you have to set iteration count equal to 1. Step 3, set sample equal to 1. In step 4, you have to calculate the gradients. So GM equal to minus, we are in the sample 1, right? So this is the Y. 3.4 minus M1 X 0.2 minus C, already minus is there, plus 1 into X 0.2. So that's value equal to, I think, 0.84 అనుకుంటా. Yeah, I think it's a minus 0.84. Already we calculated. So GC equal to minus 3.4 minus 1 into 0.2 plus 1, no 0.2 will be here. Then it will be minus 4.2. So we have calculated GM and GC. Now go to step 5. Here we have to find the sum of the squares of the gradient variable. That is the capital GM2, that's equal to capital GM2 plus, that is a 0 plus, here GM square, GM whole square, small GM whole square, because we are calculating the squares of the gradient. So minus 0.84 whole square. Similarly, you have to calculate GC2, that's equal to 0 plus minus 0.84 whole square. Right? Once you are calculating the squares of the gradient, then you are going to step 6. In step 6, you have to update your model parameter. So how we update model parameter? M equal to M minus, that means 1 minus eta.
Sir, in GC square, sir, in GC square, is it not 4.2 square?
Right. Sorry. Thank you. So it's a minus 4.2 whole square. Thank you. So 1 minus eta, eta value 0.1 we have chosen, divided by square root of this one, GM square value means, that is we have to calculate 0.84 whole square plus small number epsilon. We have to initialize the epsilon equal to 10 power minus 8, almost equal to 0. Into what we have to do here is enough, it's sufficient.
GM.
You have to keep the GM. Perfect. So into minus 0.84. Similarly, we have to update the C also. C equal to C minus 1 minus eta 0.1 divided by square root of, what is the GC square? GC2, that is the minus 4.2 whole square plus epsilon into GC, that is minus 4.2. So you have to update the calculate the M and C values. You have to calculate the M and C values. Once the step 6 is over, now go to step 7. But go to step 7. In step 7, what you have to do? You have to update your sample number. Sample equal to sample plus 1. Now it is a 2. Now go to step 8. Check for the number of samples. If your current sample is less than or equal to number of samples, you decide. You in the data set. Your sample is 2, right? And n is also 2. So it's a true, right? So it's a true case. As it is a true case, you have to go to again step 4. You have to go to again step 4. I hope you understand that. We are going to again step 4. See step 4 em cheyali. You have to go to the step 4 again. So you have to calculate the gradient. So gm equal to minus ఏమొస్తుందమ్మా 3.8 because we are in the sample 2. We are in the sample 2 now. So minus 3.8 minus m. This m value not 1. This m value we have to take care from here. M into 0.4, m multiplied with 0.4 minus c. This c will be coming from here. We have to calculate this value and replace here. We have to calculate this value, replace here into 0.4. Similarly, you have to calculate GC. That's equal to minus 3.8 minus m into 0.4 minus c. And this m from here, this c from here, because we have to calculate these values and replace here. Now we get the new GM and GC. Okay, new GM and GC for the second time. Now what we have to do? Go to step 5. So step 5 equal to, we have to calculate the square gradient. So GM2 equal to, what will be here? ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఏమొస్తుంది చెప్పగలరు ఎవరైనా?
0.84 whole square plus.
Perfect. Minus 0.84 whole square plus this gradient whole square. GM whole square. That is called sum of the squares of the gradient with respect to the model parameter m. Similarly, you have to calculate GC2, that's equal to here minus 4.2 whole square plus this one, GC whole square. Now once you get the sum of the squares of the gradient GM2, capital GM2 and capital GC2, then you are going to update the parameter in step 6. In step 6, what we have to do? In step 6, m equal to m minus, this m will be this one, not 1. So this m will be latest m value minus 0.1 eta divided by square root of gm2 plus epsilon into gm. This gm from here and this gm2 from here. Just replace here, calculate, update the parameter m. And similarly update the model parameter c equal to c minus 0.1 divided by square root of gc2 plus epsilon into gc, right? So gc2 anedi, this gc2 will be coming from this one and this gc is coming from here. So replace there 0.1 epsilon 10 power minus 8, c value will be coming from here. So update the model parameter m and c. Once this is over, we have to go to step 7. In the step 7, we have to update your sample count. Sample equal to sample plus 1. That's equal to, in which sample we are currently there? In the second sample, right? So that is a 2 plus 1, that's equal to 3. 2 plus 1, that's equal to 3. Now go to step 8. In 8, so okay, మరి అవసరం అనుకుంటా డైరెక్ట్ మీకు తెలుసు కదమ్మా. స్టెప్ 8 ఏంటి చెప్పండి? యూ హ్యావ్ టు కంపేర్ ద నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ శాంపిల్స్ విత్ ద current sample number with the total number of samples available with the data set. whether the current sample is less than or equal to ns or not, we have to check. No, it's not satisfied. Then you have to go to step 8. You have to update your iteration. Then iter equal to iter plus 1. Already we are in the first iteration, right? 1 plus 1, that's equal to 2, second iteration. But max number of epochs you decided here is 1 only. So we exceeded the max number of epochs. Then directly read the latest M and C values and calculate the mean square error and root and everything based on the your training and testing data set. Right? So this is the AdaGrad optimizer. That's the first adaptive learning rate based optimizer which are used in case of the machine learning algorithm.
So what about this epsilon value? You won't give any values for that?
No, madam. Here the epsilon value is a small value which I have given as a 10 power minus 8.
10 to minus
10
8.
power
Okay.
minus. It's a very small value. Why we are including that epsilon value as a small value? Because suppose if your sensitivity of your objective function, sensitivity of your objective function on a particular model parameter is 0, no impact, then you will have this parameter will be 0. If this parameter is 0, denominator will become 0 if there is no epsilon. Then it will throw an error. 1 by 0, that is infinity, throw an error. That's why I am adding a small number. So it will not have any impact on the training process, but it will use to help to rescue from that error, non-error or infinity number error. So this is about the AdaGrad optimizer. Now it is the 440. Fine. I hope you understand this first algorithm. Anyone మీకు అర్థమైంది అనుకుంటున్నాను. I think you understood what I am telling in the algorithm. Based on your understanding level, anyone can identify what may be the limitation of this AdaGrad optimizer. What may be the limitation? Limitation ఏం అవ్వచ్చు? What may be the limitation? So based on that limitation, some others developed RMS prop and ADA delta optimizers simultaneously but independently. By observing that limitation in the AdaGrad, some others developed RMS prop and ADA delta optimizer. So మనం mathematical numerical calculation చేసాము. We are discussing about the algorithm also. What may be the limitation? ఏం అవ్వచ్చు limitation అనేది? Limitation ఏమై ఉండొచ్చు? If you are unable to not explain, so I will explain the evening class. So I will start from the limitation, later we move to the RMS prop, later we will discuss the ADAM optimizer. We will close for the complete numerical calculator for the course. And on Monday we will do the lab. So ఏమై ఉండొచ్చమ్మా? వాట్ విల్ బి ద లిమిటేషన్? సో ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఆన్సర్ చేయకపోయినా పర్లేదు. ఒకసారి మీకు ఫ్రీగా ఉన్నప్పుడు నెక్స్ట్ 2 hours మనకు ఉంది కదా, 2.5 hours ఉంది. సో ఈ 2.5 hours ట్రై టు థింక్ వాట్ మే బి ద లిమిటేషన్, ఏమై ఉండొచ్చు, వాట్ మే బి ద లిమిటేషన్ చెప్పండి అన్న. Okay, fine. Don't worry. So I want to stop the class for now for class 1, and we will meet at 7 p.m. again. In that class, we are going to discuss about RMS prop optimizer, which was developed by avoiding the limitation which occurs in AdaGrad optimizer. Later, we will discuss about the ADAM optimizer. Later we will discuss about the ADAM optimizer. Okay, Nana? So I want to
Fine,
close,
sir.
fine, madam. So I want to close the session for today. For this class, first class.